Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Chit, Chat, and Chill. Our organization is very much against the cancel culture that exists today. So when we have dialogue, we're open to all points of view without judgment. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. This evening, we will be talking about Coming to America 2, what our thoughts are on that. And we're also going to be talking about just movie topics in general to go along with our views on Coming to America 2. We're going to talk a little bit about diversity and stereotypes in movies and race at the Golden Globes and maybe more if time permits. So I'm Shantae. Hello, everyone. And so who wants to kick us off with our Coming to America thoughts? I know I think I might be the minority here on my point of view. So do you guys want to talk a little bit about what you thought of the movie? And there's spoilers. Peter, you're actually muted. Golden Globes and maybe more. Peter?
Somebody is watching it, and you can hear their computer.
Yeah. So someone has to mute.
That was me. I apologize for that.
Real smooth, Santino. So before you guys get started on Coming to America Part 2, so funny story about Coming to America Part 1. When Pete was a baby, that's the only movie he would watch the whole thing through until he was about 3. He would not watch any other movie except for Coming to America. I have no idea why. You know, you can put a kid in front of a movie and they'll just watch it. He get bored with anything else. You put him in front of Coming to America, he would just sit there and watch. I don't know if it was like the naked ladies in the beginning of the movie and he was just waiting for that next round or what it was, but he loved that movie until he was about 3.
Good to know.
So I had to ask him if he's seen the second one yet.
That's why.
Yeah, you should ask him to tune in and offer up his thoughts if he's watched it. And spoiler, we've all watched it. We're going to be talking about it in detail. So if you don't want to hear about it, rejoin us back here in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely come back later because we're going to get into all the reasons why we like or dislike.
Okay, so who wants to start off?
I can start. I mean, it's for me. It's one of those movies that I have to ask myself: Did the movie serve its purpose? Right? Did it entertain me? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for the time that I saw it. It was. I'm okay with that. Now, do I think it's a good movie? No. No, I have some issues with it. It's gonna be more coming off like a criticism of the idea of sequels for comedies. They just tend not to work. You look at like Hangover 2. You look at
Ride Along, but
was there a second one?
I mean,
generally speaking, they because you've got to rehash some of the jokes, just to kind of maintain the spirit of things, and they can come off as forced and awkward. Clearly there's some exceptions. Next Friday is superior, according to Santino. Barbershop 2 is pretty close. Like it's pretty good, but generally speaking, like you look at Grown Ups 2, it was like awful, whereas like Grown Ups the first Grown Ups was hilarious, and then the second Grown Ups was like trying too hard. Hangover 2 was awful. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was bad.
Yeah, every Hangover was bad.
We don't need Step Brothers 2.
No, we don't need a Step Brothers 2.
No, it doesn't need to happen.
Or other guys. We don't need no comedy. Like you said, we don't need more comedy sequels.
So that's kind of like my issue with like sequels for comedies just in general.
I would take a Wedding Crashers too, though. I would take a Wedding Crashers too.
Maybe.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way to mess that up. 100%. They will. But that being said, though, I felt like this movie kind of Disneyed out a little bit. The original movie, I'm pretty sure, was an R-rated movie, right? I could be wrong.
It had to
I
be.
feel like, and I understand that, like, over the years, I understand over the years it's become kind of a family affair to watch the movie. I get that. But I felt like this one was a little too, like, Disney-fied. Like, this was clearly a family movie. It was clearly a family movie. It was not an adult-oriented comedy. They threw a couple jokes in there that were a little edgier for adults, but ultimately, like, you could sit there and watch this with your family and be pretty, like, guilt-free about doing so. I don't know. It depends. I mean, like, if you're a purist for, like, the original, this may be an issue. Me, I have an issue just with 80s movies in general. I'm not the biggest fan of them. So, Coming to America, the first one, it's funny. It's not like it's not like my top list of anything.
Now you just sound crazy.
I'm sorry. I just gotta be honest with you guys.
Do you care if I ask someone else what they think? Should we do our 2-minute rule?
I'll take over your entire 10 minutes. Just go ahead.
What else do you guys, or what do the rest of you guys think? I know you guys all share.
I think my biggest problem was I didn't laugh. And so if I'm watching a comedy, I want to laugh. I never, not once, laughed out loud. I cracked a smile a couple of times.
Cold.
My favorite scene was probably when they first went back to the barbershop. I thought that was probably the funniest scene in the whole movie. And again, that's going back to the old characters to support, the original nostalgia and everything. But I did not laugh. I just didn't think it was funny. So to me, if I'm going to watch a comedy, I want to laugh. And I watched the movie 2 separate times, once under the influence to try to get a laugh, and it didn't work. So, yeah, that's my biggest problem. Like, how can a comedy not be funny and people still say it's okay? And I heard a lot of people say, well, it wasn't funny, but I still liked it. But it's a comedy. That's a problem. It should be funny. So it's like Seinfeld. What does that mean? No, Seinfeld is funny. I laugh at Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld is a completely different type of humor too.
Seinfeld. So no, it's not like Seinfeld.
I loved the freaking movie. So I didn't love it. I'm lying. I didn't love it, but I liked the movie. Like, I had no expectations. So when I turned it on, I laughed. I thought the jokes were funny. I laughed at them. I probably laughed at all the jokes that they set up. I thought it was cute. But now I'm starting to question. LaShawn, you say you didn't laugh at all. I'm starting to question my comedy, my comedic sense now. I feel like I've lost it because you're always saying, you don't like my TikToks. You don't like anything funny that I like. Now I'm starting to think nothing that I think is funny, anyone else thinks is funny. Because I thought the jokes were corny and appropriate, the same as the first movie. To your point,
they were not as corny.
Well, to Sarah's point, I think they did rate it down. So if they had like an R rating or an MA rating, I think they would have gone further with the jokes, but they didn't. Because to your point, it's kind of become like a family movie to watch because it's on TV a lot. And that probably hurt it a little bit because there were a few times where I was like, oh, they could have totally kept going with that. And that would have been fucking hilarious, but they didn't. Or freaking hilarious. Sorry. Trying to stop cursing so damn much.
I mean, but it's on the streaming platform. We're paying a premium for this. For the longest time, when you went and you watched an HBO show, it was expected to be edgier. It was expected to be more violent, more sexuality. Harsher language. Amazon is a pay TV service. Like, this is a premium that we paid for this. Like, can you give us a director's cut?
Right.
Just attach
That's
it.
true.
And that's easy to filter out. If you got kid filters, only the PG-13 rated version shows up. If you don't have kid filters, give us the unedited version. But I don't think they have an unedited version.
Somebody said
this was made to be PG-13.
Got it. Hang on.
Everybody is sensitive now. Think of who the comedians are. Everything is becoming censored and tiptoed around. Which is true, but that's not gonna make me like it. Like,
if they had gone further with the joke, like if they had tried if they had tried to tap into some of the Eddie Murphy of the 80s versus the Eddie Murphy of the 90s, they might have been able to Shrek and the Nutty Professor Eddie Murphy.
So they went after the target audience that wasn't the right target audience. They should have went after the people that loved the first movie. And where they screwed up is they went and tried to broaden their base. They should have made that movie for the people that loved the original one. So going to that point,
it pretty much got like Star Wars now, then, right? So this is what happened to all the big franchises.
So, Ant, do you want to give your? And then Aaron, that hasn't.
I wasn't shocked by what I saw. I think that's what Eddie Murphy has grown to be. Like the movies. Look at the movies that he has done. Like he has grown to be this family friendly guy. So he got a family friendly movie. So I laughed a few times. I had to force a laugh one time.
See,
but
you shouldn't have to force a laugh when you're watching a comedy.
like Steinfeld.
I laugh.
It's finna be the joke, but you like, ha! You trying to wait for it. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't surprised. You had a family friendly movie. You have to I think we all have to understand that during that time, we all fell in love with the original movie, but he has to market to a different audience now. Now you did see a little bit of low budget cuts in here and there. The storyline, some things just cut out differently. But I wasn't surprised by what I saw. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
There are funny family movies that.
If you really want to delve into the story on this,
let Aaron give her. Sorry, guys.
I'm just here watching the traffic jam. That's all. I didn't dislike it, but I wouldn't watch it again. I think I laughed like 4 times, but
that's not bad.
No, it's not horrible. But like LaShawn said, for a comedy, I'm expecting to like I loved Old School. Like I'm expecting to like crack up, but I think what turned me off was like the acting in it. Like I thought Eddie Murphy's acting was probably the worst out of the cast. Like he
I think they were doing that on purpose. Like
I know, because when I purposely rewatched the first Coming to America because I hadn't seen it in so long, and I read reviews that said like you needed to to get some of the inside stuff, you needed to rewatch the first one, which I did actually find to be true. But it was like somebody said he was doing it for the culture, and I felt that. Like he didn't seem like he was really trying to sell this character the way he did in the first one.
No, Aaron, can I just comment on that really quick? I think this falls into what I was talking about sequels for comedies. What happens is characters that you grow to love in the first movie, they cannot quite nail the spirit of those characters in that second movie. They can't. So it always ends up becoming borderline caricature. It almost becomes like an exaggeration. It's kind of like Homer Simpson in like the first couple seasons, how Homer becomes later. He becomes a caricature of the original character. And at this point, we're talking about being 20, 30 years removed from that character. That character is a meme at this point. Like you remember like the highlights and oh damn it, Jose. But I mean,
it's true.
Okay,
I guess people don't wear Jerry curls,
right?
but they could have did something.
They got a lot of cameos, and they left that one out.
Arsenio,
so that's all I have to say though.
Arsenio, I felt like was the same person. I even felt like even when they were in character at the barbershop, I felt like that. When he was Randy Watson again, I felt like he was that same, and it was funnier because he was fatter. So it was like
the Randy Watson scene was good.
That was good, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like Eddie Murphy was doing that on purpose because I felt like his role was a king who had lost himself. You know what I mean? Like he had become a king 30 years later, who couldn't connect with his former self, and his daughters had to bring him back to that. So I liked the scenes with his daughters. I thought that was good acting. And then the rest of it was kind of cheesy because I felt like he was in his dad's shadow and stuff. And then he kind of came out of that at the end, and I thought that was on purpose. That's just my point of view. I thought acting shy and timid and stupid was on purpose. But
where it lost me? I'm not gonna lie. I hated James Earl Jones and that funeral. I just thought it was
that was my favorite part.
I hated it. I was like, this is not funny.
Hold
This is
on.
over the top.
You cannot talk about Darth Vader. You cannot talk about Darth Vader.
I hated that. I absolutely hated it. Hold on, because Jermaine feels very passionately about this, and he really wants to jump in.
Hello.
Hello.
So I didn't like the movie either. It was over the top, overacting, a bunch of dumb stuff. Like Wesley Snipes was just dancing for no reason when he walked. It was like, bye.
He was the funniest part of the movie. He was the funniest part of the movie.
Randy Watson.
That movie needed more Wesley Snipes.
That movie needed more Wesley Snipes. I agree. Go ahead, Ann.
All right, so to your point about when you said that he had lost himself. So to that point, it was that scene where he was like, my royal guard was on fleek.
Oh,
He's like, niggas on fleek anymore? He's like, he was like, I like being on fleek. So then he had lost his moment. And then to the Sean point, when you was talking about what was you talking about, Sean, about the acting? I don't know. But
I hated the funeral. I don't know what else.
Oh yeah, the funeral part. Oh, I didn't like the end part. I'm going to die now. What the fuck? Who does that?
The way, like, James Earl Jones in the first one was so regal. I mean, he had his moments where, whatever. But then to turn him into this, like, goofy ass, I don't know. I didn't like that. I just didn't.
I'm going to die now.
Jones is the meme himself at this point, too. This is what I'm talking about, guys. They carry the weight of, like, characters with them over the next 30 years. James Earl Jones is always associated with 4 characters, and he carries the weight of those characters into everything he does. Watch anything he's in. He's always Mufasa. He's always Darth Vader, all the time. It's just
Aaron wanted to say something.
I thought with that scene, at least, up until the funeral scene, he was his self. He was still a king. He was still ruling the kingdom, even though he was 5 minutes from death. And I got the point where he's so vain that he wanted to see how spectacular. He wanted to make sure his funeral was spectacular. And I thought it was freaking awesome. Like, I thought Freeman, I thought was a really good add to that particular scene. I figured he would, because they had like the shaman predicting things, I felt like that's how he knew when he was going to die. Not like he felt it like Sixth Sense, but probably like, okay, when this moment happens, you're going to, like, that's it. But I thought the funeral scene, that was one of the best. Oh, no. One of the best was when the girl was still barking like a dog 30 years later. That was freaking awesome.
So stupid. It's like, why? It was so dumb. It was so dumb.
And the look at the camera after she said, "Do you see me barking like a dog?" was unnecessary because they had already referenced the barking like a dog. So I was like, that's an unnecessary moment, but whatever. Okay. I just have so many
But there was a comment that Leslie Jones was trash. I disagree. I liked her in the movie too. I feel like she was just a normal person from Queens. They had to insert some African people into it. I liked her. I liked her as his mom. I liked her as a character in the movie from Queens who became the Queen's best friend.
I didn't like that casting for her because she already deals with issues of people saying she's unattractive and all this other stuff. So to make her the unattractive second wheel and the big baby mama to your petite wife, I don't think that helps her cause.
I don't disagree, but she accepted the role, and I didn't see her that way, but I know what you're saying now that you're saying it out loud. In the movie, I just thought she was funny, but I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I liked how, and this is probably going to segue into what we talk about, like stereotyping.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I like how they weren't like destitute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she had a job. I'm assuming from her scrubs, maybe she was a nurse or a home health aide, whatever. And he was trying to make something of himself. Because in some of these movies, you know, you find your son and he a scammer or a booster or something else. But that's one of the things I did like about it, that he was trying. He wasn't just accepting not being great.
Yeah, that's a good ad.
All right. There was one part real quick that kind of annoyed me in the movie, and it was a part when I just watched this movie, so I don't remember anybody's names. To be honest with you guys, the prince and the girl he was trying to leave with. They were talking about like American culture and stuff, and she talked about like American like cinema, and then like how it's lame that all we have is like superheroes and all this stuff, and it's like, what? Like American cinema defines like world cinema, like we the best, like we have the best of the best movies. No, I get that, but then like talks about how how Barbershop was so good, and Barbershop's a great movie, but there's an opportunity here to bring attention to like real like great black cinema, something good. And the reason I say that is because you guys remember when the Avengers came out, the first Avengers movie, and at the end of the movie, they all survived their attack, and Robert Downey Jr. was like, I need to try shawarma, I need to try some shawarma. And then the mid-credit scene was them like in some random like restaurant eating a shawarma sandwich. And the following like week or two after the movie, like sales for shawarma spiked like 1,000% or something. I don't know the number, but it spiked significantly. You're missing an opportunity here in a situation like that to bring something else to people's attention. You know what I mean? There's
other than Barbershop.
Black cinema did not start in 2002. Like,
gotcha.
Black cinema's American cinema.
And you're right too. People who haven't seen Barbershop just because it was referenced in that movie are now going to go watch it, or Beauty Shop.
A bunch of people will. A bunch of people will absolutely go and watch that movie. But it's like, there's some really good stuff out there. That you can watch instead. That's all.
Yeah.
I saw.
All right.
And then like I hated the Puma stuff on their outfits. Why couldn't they just have like really awesome African outfits? Why do they have to have the Puma insignia there? I can't stand that. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
You obviously feel very strongly about that. All right, man.
Commercialization for no reason. Stupid commercialism for no reason. And it actually detracts from an opportunity.
Classic movies, though. All right. So the next topic we're gonna jump in is diversity and stereotypes in movies. So we had talked a little bit about like, are minorities typecast, and are they okay being typecast? And are we, as the people watching, okay with it as well? Just because we just want to be in the movies. So do we just accept that we're put into those roles? And not just Black people, but like Hispanic people, Asian people, like tend to be typecast in certain roles, and are we okay with it across the board, I guess? So anybody want to kick it off?
Let
somebody else talk. I love you, but let's kick it to someone else. No one? Okay, that's Tina. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I guess I'm trying to think of like more recent examples of people being typecast outside of Coming to America, because they definitely did some themselves.
We talked about Empire. Like it's not very new, but we had talked about Empire being a show where we're like, do we really like it, or do we just like that there's a Black show out again?
Oh, I hate Empire. So no, I don't really like it. That was the most soap opera-esque. No, I don't like Empire. So that's not a good example. I hate that show.
But there were everybody in that, well, not every character, but a lot of characters in there were just like stereotypical Black people. But like it had and it was very popular. I don't even know if it's on anymore, but it was very popular.
But I like one of the examples I gave when we talked was I love the Black couples in This Is Us and A Million Little Things because of course they have disagreements and they don't get along at times, but they sincerely have each other's back. Nobody got an outside kid, nobody got a drug problem. They don't have to call each other name, like, you know, and the wives aren't made to be shrews, you know what I'm saying? Where they gotta be overly aggressive Black wives to prove, like, you know, I run this. No, they both of these couples complement each other. And I love those shows in general, but I love those characters. I just really I love the writing for them.
So that's an example of like good, so not typecasting and actually doing good casting, normal casting, real characters.
Aside from maybe Black,
they are totally typecasting that. She talked about what was it that you said? This Is Us. Is there somewhere? They had to go and like check all the boxes off on their fucking diversity list, you know, for that show. And that's my issue with it, is I don't like when this stuff feels forced. Like you're just checking boxes off your checklist to make sure that, you know, you're just covering your bases. And I think a lot of these shows do that.
What do you mean? When you say they check off all the boxes, what do you mean?
So they have a list. And I promise you, they probably have a list. I know we gotta have a gay couple, we gotta have a Black couple, we gotta have an Asian couple. Bonus points, we can combine some of these into, you know, into intersectionality, and we can kill a couple birds with one stone. You know,
they don't
and then like a show like this presents on this like crazy progressive utopian society that doesn't actually exist.
Which show? Which one are you talking about?
You said This Is Us, right?
I thought This Is Us. I haven't seen that, but I didn't think it was about anything utopian.
No, This Is Us and it doesn't check. So the premise is a white couple, they had triplets. One of their babies died, so the dad decided to take in this Black baby that had been deserted at the fire station. So that wasn't a forced, like, let me have a Black couple. That is the part of their storyline. And like his journey growing up Black in a white family and all this other stuff. But there's no, This Is Us is a little bit different than that. Like I see what you're saying, Santino. Like there are those shows, because somebody in here mentioned Blackish doing a good job. Now, true, the Black couple in Blackish, when Dre and Bo was about to get divorced, I felt that. Like I love those episodes, especially with the lack of color. But then they had to make his sister gay and introduce, you know, which I guess I see how they want to say how African American families, especially religious African American families, deal with homosexuality, which is fair, but that felt forced.
Yeah. I don't disagree that there's always like checking the box, and it does bother me sometimes, but if it's done really well, it doesn't bother me. So
somebody said, Howard said, everyone is typecasted. People don't have to take these roles. We say we don't like stereotypes, then people make Tyler Perry a billionaire, which is true.
That's why I raised my hand.
Not a bad
because
point.
when this topic just got brought up, the first person that came into my mind was Tyler Perry.
I didn't think of his movies. You're absolutely
right. If you look at how his movies are set up, it's like they like it just. I just don't want to talk about it, but it just makes me like.
But I guess that's the thing, right? Did he become a billionaire because people just want to see Medea on TV?
Yeah, well,
even though they know it's like very. I don't even want to. Or
is it just
minstrelly?
People are really hood and they like hood stuff. Like, I mean, that's just.
But okay, so then, do y'all know what The Shop is? The LeBron.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that scene with Chadwick Boseman? And he said he would go to the roles and they would give him like the drug dealer or like the stick up guy. And he was like, no, I don't want those roles.
Right. You don't have to take those.
Right. You don't have to take them. So it's like, I just feel like it's like, you don't have to take them. Like, you don't have to do that. But
then you need role. There's like not, I feel like I also see the other side of it where then there's not always roles for you to get and you're just trying to make money. So then you end up taking a role. And then because you played that drug deal or whatever, now you're typecast. So
we've had this discussion before. And is the opportunity? There's the opportunity because you have a lot of like, you've got LeBron with his, you've got the Will and Jada with theirs, you've got Tyler, you've got a ton of people making a ton of movies. There's a role out there for you. So the typecast, it's what are people going to watch? What do people want to see? So if you're making different roles and if people are actually going to see those movies and they're enjoying seeing people not typecast or viewed in a different light, people are going to go watch them if they're good. So the opportunity is going to be there, not as much, obviously. But if you look at some of those, when you look at the most praised minority movies, it's generally minorities being typecast.
And then going to
I disagree with that because I don't think Black Panther was typecast, and I think that's a bigger praised Black movie or minority movie.
I agree. Black folks showed up.
I don't know if they're the most praised necessarily, but people like what they like. But
I mean, what about Boys in the Hood? Boys in the Hood is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Like, what about Friday?
Yeah. It's okay. Friday's a good example. Friday's a good example of a movie that was really popular, really, had a lot of viewers. People to this day love that movie, and it's pretty. It's not, that movie's not minstrelly. Like, I feel like Tyler Perry's movies is like a minstrel show to an extent, but Friday I feel like was just about a day in the hood. Same as Boys in the Hood. Well, multiple days, but that was different to me. It's not what we're talking about right now. I don't think Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood or Friday fit into the description of what we're talking about right now, because I feel like those were from a different perspective. It wasn't like making fun of yourself. At least I didn't see it that way.
And to both of you all, to Peter and Shantae's point, like Peter, like you guys, I get like opportunity may not come along. Like this is a Tyler Perry movie. He's hot right now, so I have to get in it to play the movie to get the publicity and things like that. But then you can get labeled as that person, and you will always be that guy. Like you'll always be like. So like Chadwick Boseman was known for being biopic guy. Like we want to like a biopic, we want to go with like so you'll get labeled as that, but then go to best people like they don't come far in between. But when your chance come, like
that's a lot of actors and actresses though. They get that's not just a race thing. That's a lot of actors and actors. That's their big breakthrough, and they can only have success in these certain types of movies, and it takes. Somebody that's got a ton of talent to break out of that.
I was gonna say, if you have enough talent, like for example, John David Washington first became famous for
wasn't it Ballers?
What's that show? Ballers.
Right.
Play, a football player, and so he's a Black man playing a football player, whatever. But he's pretty good actor, so he was able to get a lot of other roles, and now he's not. Like he can probably get anything he wants at this point because
do you think his father had anything to do with that? Serious question. I don't know the answer.
I don't know. He's a good actor. Like you can't. There's a lot of kids of people out there, but you still have to be a decent actor to actually make it.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I was just saying, did he get an extra break because of his dad? That's all.
I mean, when he got the role in Ballers, he purposely didn't tell anyone that Denzel was his dad because he didn't want people to know. So he at least got his first role by himself, and he did a really good job of Ballers. I like Ballers.
And he did good in a Black Klansman. I mean, that was a completely different role, and I feel like he did really well in that. And I feel like that role helped him to like, okay, you can do lots of different things. So
Tenet was such a great movie.
I still haven't seen Tenet.
I gotta watch that
one day. One day I'll watch movies.
I will admit that Blackish show, the kids were talking about it. The kids watching. I was like, I'm not watching that stupid show. And they're like, watch Dad, you're gonna like it. I'm not gonna like the trash. The movie, the show is actually, there's some pretty good, funny episodes. As a whole, it's decent. So I was surprised. I enjoyed
That's high praises. That's high praises coming from you. Yeah,
no kidding. Yeah, it was some of it. Some of it was trash, but some of it was actually pretty well done.
At the end of the day, Blackish is a family show, and so it's funny because you interact with your kids and your wife and your family like that. So it's funny.
Yeah. So I thought going in, it was going to be more. I didn't think it was going to be as. I didn't think he was going to be as out there as he was. I thought he was going to. I had a different. I didn't. I was completely wrong about what that show was, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good show. And Anthony Anderson does a good job being a jerk. He's kind of like you in that show.
Right. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
He's stuck in his ways, and he doesn't want to listen to anyone, including his family.
Jerk.
Listen, name one time I've ever been stubborn. You see, you can't even name a time I've ever.
Fucking idiot. Anyway, all right. The last topic you guys want to talk about was race at the Golden Globes recently. Aaron, you brought up the fact that we had 4 Black winners in big categories. So Chadwick Boseman, Daniel Kaluuya, John Boyega, and then Andra Day. And you were like, did they deserve those awards? Or are they just trying to compensate because they haven't included Black people in these award shows in the past? So did you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Let me say, the only movie I saw was Judas and the Black Messiah. And so, yeah, Daniel Kaluuya 100% deserves it. Chadwick Boseman, I feel like kind of is running on affirmative action / deceased. Not that he's not a good actor. Please don't nobody at me. But I feel like, would he have won if he had not passed away? Because literally this is his last piece of work.
I feel like it was already getting Oscar buzz before he passed. Like, people kept talking about, oh, this new movie he's in is so good. I still haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak on it yet. I should hopefully watch it before the Oscars.
I didn't hear about it until after he passed. But and then that's what I said. I didn't see the movie with John Boyega, but he's never struck me as like a thespian. So I'm just like, and then just from the clips I see, the hairpiece he had on looked kind of tragic. So I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't know either. I feel like,
you know, the problem is, like, you know, this was a particularly good year for Black cinema. The problem is that because of all the years that there wasn't as much representation, it's just calling into question whether or not this is legit. I know me and LaShawn have had this conversation for like a decade now, like on and off whenever they have these awards, because it's like, you'll go 2, 3, 4, 5 years of like your standard, like the Holocaust movie winning, the British biopic movie, the royalty movie winning. You know, you get that for like 2, 3 years. Some shit will happen with race relations. The next thing you know, everybody's nominated. You know, it's only Black people nominated, like across the board. You know, right. And it's been like rinse and repeat like this for decades now. Maybe this year it was particularly good. I feel like it was, you know, because there was a lot more of it. There was a lot more Black cinema this year than ever before. In recent years. You know, the thing is just because of the history, I mean, I don't know. It feels pandering. You know?
Yeah, I'd say it was a British thing. All the Brits won in every category. A British person won, except for Andra Day. Everyone was British.
The comment down below says they got slaughtered by Ricky Gervais and had to do something. I don't know if you guys remember Ricky when he was the host. Yeah, it was pretty bad. He does not care. I love him. I respect his comedy and his fight against cancel culture, which goes in line, which is in line with our motto. Wholeheartedly.
I agree. There was a lot of good movies out there this year. So it, like you said, it's always going to be a question. And if it's a question for us, it's going to be a question for other minorities or, white people or whoever. Everybody's going to be like, did they do it just to do it? Or was it actually deserved? I haven't seen all of the movies, so I can't really say who deserved what. I can say that Daniel Kaluuya did a great job, and Andrew Day also did a really, really good job. The movie itself, though, Billie Holiday movie was okay. Like, there was some good, there was some meh, but her acting was really good. I will say that. But I haven't seen a lot of the other ones, so I don't even know. Like, I don't know. But the people I usually like don't win anyway, so whatever.
So the question, what's entertaining about award shows? I don't think anything. None of us like award shows, right? I mean, I've watched them in the past, but I watch like the music ones, not the movie ones. The movie ones are boring.
I only kept up this year because I was interested to see how like Judas and the Black Messiah did. Like, I was interested to see if they were going to acknowledge that movie, and then I was interested to see if Chadwick Boseman would rack up. But I haven't watched award shows in a pretty long time. I think since Whitney Houston died. Because most of the time it's long for no reason.
Yeah.
I really like movies. So if nothing else, like, it introduces me to movies that maybe I missed at some point in the year. I watch a lot of movies, so I don't miss that many. But like the Golden Globes specifically, they cover so many topics that one is a good one to be like, oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh, let me check that one out. The Oscars, they're not as diverse. They don't have as many awards and stuff, so it's more like Oscars like the Grammys. It's like, meh.
Agreed. Who's hosting the Oscars this year? Do we know? Is that like a thing?
Yeah,
I'm just curious. Like, I'm curious. Are they not doing a host? Because wasn't that the one that they didn't do Kevin? They fired Kevin Hart and then just didn't do a host again.
They didn't fire him. He quit. They didn't fire him. He stepped down because he wasn't gonna do that apology and backpedal like they asked him to do.
So ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look like they know yet.
So Shantae, just to go back like about a minute, I just think that the problem with the award shows now, when you're looking at the Golden Globes, is they've lost all their credibility. The best movie of the year no longer ever really wins best movie of the year. They tend to focus more on the cultural relevancy versus whether or not a movie is actually good.
Yeah, like Green Book,
it depends. Yeah. Oh, Green Book. Oh, come on. But that's my point. Is that and it's been particularly bad, like in the last 5 or 6 years, I think maybe a little bit longer, and that's kind of when I stopped watching it because they got the diversity sheet in front of them again, and they just sit there. What I mean?
Diversity. To your point, somebody said it's like all Black movies. There's still no Hispanic people that we're seeing actively. There are some Asian movies, like I've seen.
Parasite was a legitimately really good movie, by the way.
Which movie?
It was good.
Oh, Parasite.
And
it won.
That swept a lot of awards. Yeah,
It was the best movie. I'll say that. It was the best movie. And we've seen
some, but not it's still not diverse enough. Like, it's still a whole lot of white movies or white film, mostly white actors, and then just a sprinkle of minorities. And like you said, it's a lot of Black movies. Like, I just want to see lots of different types of characters in these movies represented.
And Shantae, I'm all for that. One thing I don't like is when I start seeing people in roles that are anachronistic like especially when you're looking at like period pieces and stuff, that just really throws me off. You know, like I'm sorry.
You mean like an all-white movie in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, or
stuff
what do you
like that? Yeah, stuff like that really just takes me out of it. And there's a lot of movies that'll come out now that like they kind of just like don't care who they cast in roles. And I'm sorry, but like if you're in like 1700s England, like, and you walk around the street, you're probably gonna be white.
Right, you know, but that's not all movies. But I agree with you.
That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. It's like, you know, as long as it's not anachronistic, because it really like, and as a historian, it pulls me out completely. You know, I think it was like Beauty and the Beast, like had like a black like innkeeper, shopkeeper, and I was sitting there in the theater like,
whatever. Beauty and the Beast. That is not the same thing as what we're talking about.
It's still a period piece. You know,
they made the movie in current times. Anyway, okay.
But the opposite is true too, where they start throwing white people in roles that obviously were not supposed to be played by white people.
Louis Anderson in Coming to America.
No, not like Louis Anderson in Coming to America.
No, but did you see that Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy said that they were forced to do that?
What? They were forced to have a white person? That's funny.
The token white person?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is silly.
But I stopped watching award shows after The Patriot lost to Gladiator. I was like, I'm done with award shows.
Gladiator was a great freaking movie.
Gladiator was great.
Patriot was also good, but
I'm not get nominated. Wait. When did The Patriot get nominated for Best Picture? It did not.
They didn't. That's what I said. They should have won.
No, Gladiator was a great freaking movie.
Gladiator was a great movie.
I love The Patriot. And I love The Patriot.
Obvious.
You guys, how do I remove you guys from this chat? You guys don't belong on here any longer.
Okay, did you guys want to talk a little bit about Harry and Meghan, or are we just trying to wrap it up?
No, I don't care about
to go.
I will say this.
I don't care about the Royals.
I don't care about the Royals.
That's the Chit Chat and Chill official view. I don't care about the Royals. But
nothing they said surprised me at all. I was whatever.
That's true. I wasn't surprised either. I think the most surprising thing to me was the fact that it was so hard for them to get away. Like, I really got those cult vibes. That's what I was telling y'all. Like, I started to think about when I was watching the Leah Remini interviewing Scientology people. Like, once you're out, you can't talk to people. You're out of the bubble. You like, you know, their dad stopped calling them. I'm like, this is like ridiculous. You just moved to another country. Who cares?
I didn't think that was that weird. Like, when you have a rift in a family, people stop talking to each other for a little while. Like, all that stuff is normal. I didn't.
But they made it like it was like deeper than that. It was like, I don't know. I guess you're right. We're overthinking it, or I'm overthinking it. It was just like, that's silly. That's too much. Anybody else?
So yeah, I just want to know what will be our general consensus for Chit Chill on this movie. Do we say recommend, or do we say?
I recommend Coming to America. I absolutely recommend.
I say stick with the first one. I didn't have to rewatch the first one like Aaron, because I've already seen the first one about 75 times at least in my life. I know that movie front and back. I mean, yeah, no, you're not missing anything if you don't watch it. That's how I feel.
Disagree. Just for the singing alone, it's worth it.
I say it's worth checking now. Why not? I mean, if you have Amazon Prime, it's a movie that you're already paying for. It's a movie you're already paying for. Give it a go. At the very least, I'm telling you right now, it's safe to watch with your family. You can have your grandma there. You can have your kids there. I mean, there's not a whole lot. There's a couple parts but it's not a whole lot that's going to really like shake things up.
Don't expect to laugh.
And
it's not funny.
And
Like
hey, you know
Seinfeld.
what, any excuse to bring the family together though and sit down and spend time with each other is worth it. So I recommend it as a watch. I say go ahead.
Me too. Go for it. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We've been talking for 50 minutes already. That's awesome. That kind of went fast today. Thanks for everyone who joined. Thank you guys, the panelists, for the discussion topics. Thank you, Peter, our moderator this evening, along with our moderator in the background.
No, thank you to Peter. He kept dissing Seinfeld. He kept talking about Aaron. No, thank you.
First of all, I never said anything about Seinfeld or Aaron at all.
Look what he just put at the bottom of the screen.
I didn't do any of that. I don't even know. It's computer stuff. Anybody that knows me knows I don't know anything about computer.
No, we gotta make rules and regulations for this going forward. I would like to say I apologize for the people who had to see this face and was not prepared. Next time we will do better.
It's the lighting. Blame it on the lighting, guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Right,
Thanks for joining.
You guys have a good night.
Thank you so much for joining our discussion. Be sure to go and check out our other discussions on our website at chitchatchill.com. Also, support a small business and check out our merchandise, also on our website at chitchatchill.com/shop.